What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome back to MKO Pugilism, aka MKO Boxing, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube. Give me a follow on TikTok also. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, the main event from Nottingham, we had the rematch between Josh Warrington, Leigh. The second fight, the rematch, no world title on the line, just pretty much bragging rights and pride on the line, just the rivalry. That was what was on the line last night. So, yeah, it turned out to be not quite as good a spectacle as the first fight, not quite as dramatic as the first fight, but it was still a great display, and particularly by Leigh. And Leigh done what I didn't really expect him to do, which was he boxed an absolute shutout. He more or less took every round in there. I mean, you'll be hard pressed to give Warrington maybe more than a couple of rounds, because it was just a complete shutout. And from beginning to end, how the fight started is pretty much how it ended. Leigh throughout the fight used a more or less non-existent guard. You know, hands were low down by his side, but he was clever because he was judging the distance, but hands down by his side. Warrington wasn't really able to get near him because he'd do a clever thing of hands by his side and then flicking that jab out, throwing that jab into Warrington's face, and he was able to use that low guard of his hands by his side to basically keep Josh Warrington guessing. So while he had his hands by his side, Josh Warrington didn't know where the punches were coming from, and Leigh was just basically using straight, simple stuff, straight punches from the outside and just outlanding Warrington. And then Warrington would use the high guard, try and move his head, try and sort of get in there to get his work off. And when he would try to get in there, he'd get tied up by Leigh, and then he'd have to sort of start again. So Leigh even used kind of intelligent holding tactics on the inside, and then once they get broken up, once they get back to boxing, he was on his combinations again, on the good, straight punches from the outside. And he was way, outlanding Josh Warrington by a big margin, and very dominant. And it was that way from beginning to end, because Josh Warrington, what he needed to do was find some way to, I don't know, maybe double jab his way in, or do something to sort of shift his feet into range and get up close to Leigh, so that he could do his damage. There was the occasional looping right hand and the occasional big shot where he did land, but then the problem was Leigh would then go back to boxing and go back to throwing his combinations from the outside. And it was one of these things where Leigh was just any little bit of success where Warrington would move in and try to gain ground. Leigh just took a little step back and then bam, throws his combination behind the jab and everything, and Warrington's keep guessing, and for every advance he makes, he was having to pay a price. He was having to pay a toll every time he's trying to get in, and he just didn't have the speed of foot and really the punching power to bother Leigh. It was just a complete and utter a bit of a demolition job, really, by Leigh, because he was just consistently boxing well from the outside, consistently dominating the action. He made it at his pace and everything, and Warrington did try, but ultimately he just couldn't handle the work of Wood. He just couldn't handle it. He just could not find a way to get in and then work. So he just ended up being completely and utterly nullified for the whole fight. He was just sort of stuck on the outside, behind those long range punches from Leigh. And then as he did come in, he was getting held, and he just couldn't really get any work done, Josh Warrington. So yeah, it was a total domination by Leigh, and as I said, same pattern throughout the whole fight. Leigh low guard, punching at a decent volume, made the fight at his own pace and everything, and you couldn't have. It was one of those performances where you would kind of just call it punch perfect. Really and truly, it was just one of them punch perfect performances where it's one man's just dominant and the other guy can't find a way through, can't find a way to actually work and get something done and claw some rounds back. He just couldn't do it. And I guess that also comes down to age, although Wood's older, but they both had long careers of boxing, so eventually it just kind of catches up with you. So yeah, impressive performance by Leigh Wood. Let me know what you thought about that in the comment section below, and until next time, it's MK Boxing, over and out.